We start with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Peyton Manning. During his 18-year career, Peyton won a record 5 MVP awards, making a record-tying 14 Pro Bowls as one of 2 players ever to win Super Bowls with 2 different teams. Tom Brady became the last one. And when he retired from the NFL after Super Bowl 50, ranked first all-time in passing touchdowns and yards. Peyton, though, started with a jab of one of his longtime rivals.
My good friend Tom Brady is here tonight. By the time he is inducted, By the time Tom Brady is inducted in his first year of eligibility in the year 2035, he'll only have time to post his acceptance speech on his Instagram account. In my youth in New Orleans and in Newman School, football carved out a place for my favorite quarterback, my hero, my role model, my dad, Archie Manning, to pass on something he loved to me. Dad, there's no one I would rather have or be more appropriate than you to welcome me to this stage. The future of this game is ours to shape. We just need to take tomorrow on our shoulders as readily as we donned our pads before each game. Let this moment become a cherished memory. And then remember, a legacy is only worthwhile when there is a future to fuel. God bless you, and God bless football.
How about Charles Woodson, who edged out Peyton Manning to win that 1997 Heisman Trophy at Michigan? Woodson will go down in history as one of the greatest defensive backs the game has ever seen. During his 18-year career, Woodson won a Super Bowl, picked off 65 passes, scored 13 defensive touchdowns. That's tied for the most ever, and he was named the AP Defensive Player of the Year in 2009. Here's Charles asking for some crowd participation.
Any player that played with me, please stand up. Stand up. Any Michigan Wolverine out there, player, keep standing. Keep standing. Any Michigan Wolverine, stand up. Any Green Bay Packer, past, future, present, or fan, stand up. Any Oakland Raider fan, Las Vegas Raider fan, stand up. Keep standing. Keep standing. Anybody who's a fan of the way I played the game of football, you stand up too. Anybody. My coach Lloyd Carr told me a long time ago, there's no one bigger than the team. No one bigger than the team. The things we were able to accomplish. Keep standing, don't sit down, stand up. We did this together. Together, me and you. We were Mr. Ohio together. We were a Heisman Trophy winner together. We were national champions together. We were defensive rookies together. Defensive player of the year together. Super Bowl champions together. So when I say that when I go in, we all go in, I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
And Calvin Johnson becoming one of the youngest players ever enshrined in Canton. The former Lions receiver is just 35 years old, tying Jim Brown as the second youngest player ever inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, only trailing the late, great Gale Sayers. Johnson put together arguably the greatest season ever for a receiver in 2012 when he had 1,964 receiving yards, the most in a single season in league history. Here's Calvin talking about how one moment shaped his entire career.
One of the more defining moments for me came early in my career. In my first year in the NFL, I suffered a serious back injury. It was so bad at the moment, I couldn't feel my legs, and I thought my career would be over. But what most don't know is the road to recovery from that back injury that year, and the physical and mental pain that I played through well into my career. But going into that second year, despite dealing with the pain and the back injury, I made up my mind that I was going to be the best, most dominant receiver in the NFL every time I stepped onto the football field. A mindset born from once being told I have a little potential. It was my teammate Roy Williams in 2006 and 2007 who gave me the name Megatron. when I came to the league, but it was my second year when that Megatron mindset was born. I ain't crying. Lions fans in the city of Detroit, when we were 0-16, you never stopped showing up. You were disappointed, but you never stopped showing up. Every week you showed up. And this motivated me to do the same thing for you. You love me and my family unconditionally over these 15 years. I want you to know Michigan is our home, Detroit is our city, and Lions friends are our pride.
Good stuff there by those Hall of Fame inductees. The class of 2021, you can see 8 people, an 8-person class, headlined by Peyton Manning. You saw Megatron, Calvin Johnson, Charles Woodson, John Lynch, hard-hitting safety, won a Super Bowl with the Bucks. Now the GM of the 49ers, Alan Faneca as well. Great lineman with the Steelers and the Jets and Cardinals. Tom Flores, head coach of the Raiders, Super Bowl champion as well. Drew Pearson played with the Cowboys, and of course, the great Bill Nye. Welcome in our CBS Sports football analyst and 2-time Super Bowl champion, Bryant McFadden. Kids call him B-Mac. B-Mac, let's start with Peyton Manning. We know the accolades, the numbers, they speak for themselves, right? Nobody was more cerebral. Dude couldn't run a lick, didn't have the biggest arm, but no one was more prepared under center. How great was Peyton Manning, B-Mac, in your eyes? Where do you rank him with the great quarterbacks? Easily top 5, correct?
Top 5? Nah, he's top 3, top 2. Depending on who you're asking. I think the consensus would say, worst case scenario, he's top 3 based on what he was able to achieve as an individual. The team goals, winning multiple championships with 2 different organizations. Throughout the majority of his career, Larry, I think it's safe to say he was considered one of the best quarterbacks in his prime years. The fear that he struck in defenses, when you talk about DCs and secondary players, man, Peyton was a bad man. He was a bad man. He consistently dominated, and he was so efficient. So when you talk about where his legacy is in the National Football League, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And if you had to do a ranking, top 2, top 3. No worse than top 3 if you're asking me.
Man, I'm with you right there.
Who you rank him? I don't want to have that pressure on ranking where I would put him if I'm talking with top 2 or top 3, but he would definitely fall in that category.
Well, you said top 3. I'm with you on that. So I guess we got Brady, we got Manning, and we got Montana, right? That's a pretty good 3 right there. You agree?
Hey, it's okay.
That's pretty good. A lot of championships right there. Charles Woodson, the only player, B-Mac, in NFL history with 50 interceptions and 20 sacks. Charles would have been a Hall of Famer as a corner or a safety, B-Mac. Was great at both. Just a smooth, confident defensive back. You know something about that. What made Charles Woodson, B-Mac, so dynamic in the National Football League?
Well, number one, he was such a ball-aware defensive back. He was always trying to go get the football. His mom even said that. He was trying to go get the football. Most defenders do what they're supposed to do, which is tackle, cover, get the ball carrier down. He was trying to take the ball away from the man. He did so in a consistent rate. He did so in a big play fashion. I mean, he was always around the football. When we look at these numbers, I mean, 65 career interceptions. I mean, unbelievable numbers. He was a guy that was forcing fumbles, was recovering fumbles. That was the most intriguing thing about Charles Woodson. And then outside of the turnover habit he created, tackling. He was a tackling machine. He was a do-it-all DB, not corner, not safety, but DB. So when you look at where he is, his legacy is, and I had this debate with some of my former teammates this past weekend in Canton, and we were just talking about Charles Woodson. I grew up a Charles Woodson fan. When I was in high school, I watched Michigan football because of number 2. When they recruited me, Lloyd Carr already told me if I come to Michigan, I'm rocking number 2. And at that time, my good buddy, Cato June, had number 2, but we're going to work something out. Cato was going to have to get out that number 2 if I was going to come to Michigan. So that was my guy. That was my guy. So we had this debate. Like, of course, Deion Sanders is the number 1 cornerback in the history of the game. I think we all would say that. Barbershop talk, everybody would say prime time. But when you talk about the GOAT at the defensive back position, not corner, defensive back position, I think you start that debate with Charles Woodson.
Two Woodsons. Rod Woodson as well did sort of a very similar thing as well. Those Steelers, look at that. You like those colors right there. Calvin Johnson, B-Mac, dude has one of the coolest nicknames ever, right? Megatron, a.k.a. he's a bad dude. 6'5", catches everything near him, catch radius, we know all of that stuff. Commands double teams, game plans from defenses to focus solely on him on a bad Detroit Lions team. He retired early, pretty much had enough of the losing and playing with the Lions to go along with the pain and injuries. He gave some love, B-Mac, to the city of Detroit in his speech. You think he'll ever smooth things over completely with that team and that city?
Yeah, I think he never had an issue with the city. I think he never had an issue with the fans. It was the organization consistently going in the wrong direction, and he also hit on some of the internal battles he was dealing with. Body injuries. Those are things that we go through time and time again. There's not enough pills we can put in our body for us to feel like we need to feel to go out and do our business. Remember, when you play the game of football, it's a reckless game. It's a crash course. Play in and play out. And even though Megatron was a 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver around 230 pounds, people were taught to run into him. Run into him. Anytime you see him with the football, you got to go run into him. And that takes a toll on your body. And when it takes a toll on your body, Larry, it transitions to your mentals. And that's a very, very difficult thing to deal with. And when you factor in you're losing, that's the thing. In the month of October, your team is already out of playoff contention, and you still got 2 months left to go. And your body's not getting any better. So those are things that he dealt with. But I really love and appreciate the fact that he was able to shout out Detroit. Give some love to the organization. Because for such a long time, I, for one, thought he just basically retired because of the organization, the trust, the lack thereof, not winning, but the body. The injuries also had a big part to play in Megatron walking away from the game.
Yeah, gave the city, the D, some love there. He and Barry Sanders, coincidentally, both retiring at the age of 30. Only 2 playoffs during his 9-year career with the Detroit Lions. Move along, your old teammate, Alan Faneca, one of the greatest guards in league history. B-Mac, you played with Alan, won a Super Bowl with him during that 05 season. What can you tell us about him, B-Mac? What did you admire most about the great Alan Faneca?
Big Red is what we called him in Pittsburgh, baby. Man, Big Red was so quiet. He was so cool, so calm. But when he put on that uniform on Sunday, and if you were wearing the opposite color, he was coming at you in a personal way with bad intentions. One of the best linemen I've ever seen in person. Clearly the best lineman I've played with. Run blocking, a beast. Pass blocking, a beast. When you talk about technique, fundamentally sound, he had everything you would want your guard to have. If you had to really draw the ideal guard, I think you start with Alan Faneca, Big Red. And then he goes to the Jets, take the same mindset to New York and just dominate it. Got those guys in the AFC Championship game, provided a 1,000-yard rusher. And playing in Pittsburgh, man, I played with so many Hall of Famers. It's not even fair. It is fair, but it's not, because some guys never would get the luxury. But Big Red was one of the ideal teammates, a stand-up guy. And the thing about Big Red is, get this, my 05 was my rookie year. So I wasn't a vet, you know what I mean? But people, they embraced all of us. And Big Red, I played 3 years with Big Red. I think 2007 was my last year with him, either that or 06. But when I saw him this weekend in Canton, it was like it's like we just saw each other yesterday. I mean, he was just so welcoming to me and to the other guys. And he has a better relationship with guys like Hines Ward. But just seeing me and just how he embraced me, his family, that's what Steeler Nation is all about. That's what the culture is all about. And Troy talked about the culture as well. And that's something they need to get right back into the building, because that's one of the main reasons why, Larry, we won so much, because we rock and roll with each other, and we still rock with each other. Last night, we partied like it was 1999. I haven't been to sleep yet. We treated Canton, Ohio like it was Vegas.
Yes, sir. And Troy, you're right. He did talk about that Saturday night during his induction speech. How about Allen? Lost probably at least 100 pounds. Looked really good out there. B-Mac, before we let you get out of here, Geico 15-second statement. Biggest takeaway from the 2021 Hall of Fame induction, it's got to be Peyton Manning, right? Talked about this dream that he had playing for both the coaches, Jimmy Johnson and Bill Cowher, throwing the Michael Irvin and some other folks. Crazy dream right there. King Von would be happy. The rapper would be happy with that story. Crazy story.
It was a great dream. We saw some great speeches. Edgerton had a great speech. Bruce. Unbelievable speeches from all of these outstanding, amazing individuals. But my biggest takeaway was Steeler Nation took over Canton. We took over Canton, not to mention we had 5 individuals get inducted into the hall, but the fans came in and they just kicked down the door and said, this is Heinz Field, this is Pittsburgh, this is Terrible Town Nation, and we're gonna let the world know we're here, we ain't going nowhere, and we're gonna party like we just won a championship. And they partied, and all the former players that were there to support our former teammates that were getting inducted, our former coach in BC who was getting inducted along with Scout Bill Nunn, we felt the energy. We all said, and all of us are basically old. Well, I'm not as old as some of the other guys, but I'm older than the current players that are playing. We all said the same thing. Do y'all feel that chill going through your body? Man, if we can go get a helmet right now and go give it one more time. And I said, well, I probably can go give it one more time. Y'all a little older than me. I don't know if y'all really can, so y'all, that just false hype. But we all felt the same thing. The energy that the fans provided this past weekend was a thing of beauty, and I really hope the current crop of guys that are playing for Pittsburgh feel the same way and use that as a motivational chip to get things rolling, because they want it. They hungry, they fired up, and this weekend we took over Canton, Ohio.
It's called a fraternity, brother. As they like to say, here we go. All right, be back.
No question.
Thank you.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.